The man behind Gladiator, Alien and Black Hawk Down, Sir Ridley Scott. English film director Ridley Scott was born on November 30th, 1937 in the coastal town of South Shields, England, into an army family. Scott went on to study at the Royal College of Arts, contributing to college magazine ARK and helping to establish the college film department. For his final show, he made a black and white short film named Boy and Bicycle, starring both his younger brother director Tony Scott and his father. In his early career, Scott spent an year making documentaries at Time Life Books, then worked as a set designer at BBC and directed occasional episodes of British TV shows before starting his own company that made TV commercials. But eventually, an itch to make something more substantial drew Scott to making movies. His directorial debut, the 1977 historical drama film The Duelists, was a splendid recreation of Napoleonic France, based on Joseph Conrad's book The Duel. It's the true story of two French cavalry officers getting engaged in 17 duels over 2 decades. Despite limited commercial impact, the movie was critically acclaimed, especially for sound and costume design, and won the Best Debut Film Award at the 1977 Cannes Film Festival.
He has that look, don't you think?
Jumping into a completely different genre, Ridley Scott took on a challenge with 1979 movie Alien that had intimidated directors like Walter Hill in terms of visual effects. Alien won the 1979 Academy Award for Visual Effects and was nominated for Best Art Direction. The music was well appreciated, winning the Golden Globe for the Best Original Score and a Grammy for the Best Soundtrack Album. The success of Alien led 20th Century Fox to finance 3 direct sequels over the next 18 years. His next movie was the 1982 atmospheric future noir Blade Runner with Harrison Ford, now recognized as a classic but a box office disappointment in its initial run. After 15 years cranking out thousands of commercials, Scott redeemed himself with the groundbreaking 1984 Macintosh Super Bowl commercial. Advertising Age named it the 1980s Commercial of the Decade.
On January 24th, Apple Computer will introduce Macintosh. And you'll see why 1984 won't be like 1984.
After being nominated for the Best Director Academy Award for 1991 tragi-comic pseudo-feminist road movie Thelma and Louise, Ridley Scott hit a roadblock with the box office dud G.I. Jane. In response, Ridley claimed to be his own biggest and the best critic.
I'm my own biggest critic, basically. I fundamentally never read my own press, ever.
As a comeback for Sir Ridley Scott, the 2000 epic historical drama film Gladiator created a reawakening in the ancient drama genre and inspired an explosion of Greco-Roman action films, including 300, Troy, and Alexander. Gladiator won Academy Awards for Best Motion Picture, Best Actor in a Leading Role, Best Visual Effects, Best Costume Design, and Best Sound. It also won 4 BAFTA Awards and 2 Golden Globes. This was the beginning of the remarkable actor-director partnership between Russell Crowe and Ridley Scott, spanning 5 movies in all, like A Good Year, American Gangster, Robin Hood, and Body of Lies. With its great battle scenes, Ridley Scott hence created an epic vision, one that directors and producers will attempt to recreate for decades to come. Continuing on the road of success, Ridley Scott's next direction was for Black Hawk Down. The movie was a 2001 American war film which chronicles the events of the Battle of Mogadishu, a raid integral to the United States' efforts to capture Somali warlord Muhammad Farah Aidid. The Josh Hartnett, Eric Bana, and Evan McGregor starrer movie received 2 Oscars for Best Film Editing and Best Sound at the 74th Academy Awards. Ridley Scott was nominated for the Best Director. The movie came under critical fire by Somali for the incorrect characterization of Somalis, racism, and being factually incorrect in certain scenes. One among the many movies directed by Ridley Scott in the subsequent years was the 2008 American spy film, Body of Lies. Set in the Middle East, it followed the attempts of the CIA and Jordanian intelligence to catch Al-Salim, a fictional jihadist terrorist. A mediocre rating of 53% on Rotten Tomatoes reported the consensus that the film relied too heavily on the performances of DiCaprio and Russell Crowe to lift it above a conventional espionage thriller. Warner Brothers had hoped the large budget and Scott's direction could better them, but the film performed relatively poorly compared to his others. Analysts ascribed this to the film's Middle East setting and exploration of terrorism. What is it like to work with Ridley Scott?
A lot of actors walk around with their fantasy director. He's my fantasy director.
What Ridley had set in motion was the creation of a world, the creation of a kind of a visual set of values, you know.
He's lovely to work with, is all I can say, and I think he still is. He probably is even better now.
He just, for me, represents that kind of ultimate director who knows what he's doing.
At the end of the day, when you're working with Ridley Scott, it's not about me coming in and saying, hey Ridley, I've got this great idea, do you want to direct it? It's about him saying, I want to direct a movie in this universe, here's what I want it to be about, here are the ideas that excite me, here are the thematics that I'm interested in, and here are the character traits that I want to demonstrate.
Alien was a remarkable film, and it influenced a generation of filmmakers, especially those that like science fiction and fantasy, and I was one of them. And
Ridley Scott has undoubtedly proved himself to be one of the greatest directors the world of cinema has ever seen, and his contribution goes far beyond that of his blockbuster films. He was awarded knighthood by Queen Elizabeth II in 2003 in honor of his substantial services in the British film industry. After the hard work of 36 years in the film industry, Sir Scott yet continues to inspire and entertain us with his vision and new approaches to technology.